I'm going to be honest. I can't go to Iran. I can't deploy to Iran. And it's not because I don't want to. I want to serve my country. It's just
Iran is not our enemy. Israel owns Trump and the U.S. government. Israel wants Iran completely destroyed and thrown into chaos so that Israel can mow the lawn in Iran whenever it chooses.
We are not winning this war in Iran. We went in guns blazing without a plan, and Iranian leadership was ready for us.
You know what really gets to me is that America is sending their sons and daughters out to fight and possibly be killed. Yet Benjamin Netanyahu's son is sunning himself on a beach in Miami and Baron Trump is hiding under a rock somewhere. So neither of these two men that are willing to start World War III are willing to send their own sons. Yet Americans are expected to send their sons and daughters to a war that does not need to happen. They're not defending America. They're helping Israel to create greater Israel. Donald Trump is not making sense anymore. Nothing he says or does makes sense, and he's just distracting away from the files. We should be looking at that, but instead, he's metering down all of these bombs on innocent civilians, on schools, on hospitals. And he's sending their kids, the American kids, out to die. And yet you send them. You send them to die. Make it make sense.
Caroline Levitt recently refused to rule out the draft for this war with Iran, and so I think that everybody should be increasingly clear. You will draft our children over our dead bodies. Literally. You will draft our children for this illegal war over our dead bodies, and I mean that with my full chest. Later is not the time to tell people that a draft is not an option. It's right now. If that is on the table, they need to know that the American people will absolutely not put up with it. It is not an option to send people against their will to commit war crimes across the world.
God, I hate to be sharing this, but American citizens and citizens of Arab nations abroad that are impacted by Trump's war with Iran, we are at such risk of danger because of terrorism. And this administration does not care to keep us safe. Yesterday, I shared that the administration decided not to release data, information to help local law enforcement identify or even know that there's an imminent threat by sleeper cells in the United States, terrorist sleeper cells. They are not releasing the information to local law enforcement, nor are they providing resources to local law enforcement in terms of what to do about it, how to get ahead of it, and what to do if something like that happens. And now we're finding out that several of these Arab nations are very upset because Washington is not sharing these imminent threats with them either. So they can be on the lookout and be prepared and hopefully thwart a terrorist attack. And you guys are probably wondering, why? Why does the United States not want to help keep its citizens safe? Because they do not want to impact midterm elections. They do not want people to get afraid by announcing all of the threats, putting people on notice, putting local law enforcement on notice. They want to maintain power over everything else. This is no different from the cover-up of the Epstein files. This is no different from the cover-up of the abuses within those ICE facilities. This is all about keeping power and not affecting their image, their reputation, their popularity, because Republicans want to maintain power. And this is where I shock everybody by remembering when Elon Musk had Doge in place, that they cut the funding to the counterterrorism division, cut it substantially. Worse than that, they put a 22-year-old intern a member of the Heritage Foundation with zero experience in counterterrorism, in charge of Homeland Security's Counterterrorism Division. And DOJ swiftly cut experienced, tenured terrorist experts from 80 employees down to 20 under this 22-year-old's oversight. Counterterrorism experts are saying this man, this 22-year-old, wouldn't even get an entry-level job, and he's the one in charge of everything. And when you talk about providing resources to our local law enforcement because Washington, D.C. gets information that there might be a terrorist attack, well, there's no resources because this 22-year-old, who's a white Christian nationalist, put all of the funding and resources into peaceful protests, into those fighting against the immigration tactics of this administration, not on terrorist cells, not on potential terrorist attacks. This is fucking crazy.
I keep seeing these TikToks for this draft. They're going to do a draft, right? They're going to draft all these kids off to war. I'm just telling you right now, none of them are going to go. They're just not going to go. What are you worried about? No one's drafting your kids. You know why? Because they're not going to fucking go. These kids aren't going. How are they going to notify them that they've been drafted? The mail? You think these kids are out checking the fucking mail? They don't leave their goddamn bedrooms. And they wouldn't be worth a shit anyways, most of them. You want to draft these kids, figure out a way for them to fly drones from their fucking bedroom. Or operate some kind of a fucking robot soldier from their bedroom. And you could probably get them to do that. They'll participate that way. But if you just think everyone, man and woman in America between 18 and whatever the fuck age, are gonna just go to war because you said, oh, you gotta, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard. You can't get these kids to fucking do it. They're not even paying their fucking student loans. You think they're gonna fucking go to war because the government said so? Y'all are fucking...
This is the dilemma that Americans in the Middle East are facing. The US government is advising them to leave the Middle East now, but the government is saying they can't help and that it's at people's own risk. There clearly wasn't a plan in place for this. The US Embassy in Israel, for example, is saying it's not in a position at this time to evacuate or directly assist Americans in departing Israel. They say people will have to make their own security plans. They point out that Israel is laying on shuttle buses to the border, but that the US Embassy can't make any recommendations for or against taking those buses. They say if you choose to avail yourself of this option to depart, the US government cannot guarantee your safety. The information is provided as a courtesy to those wishing to leave Israel. They also add that security conditions can change without warning, closing any border crossing. Note that the countries that people might be leaving Israel to go into are also under attack by Iran.
The Prime Minister of Spain has spoken, and they said that you can be an against oppressive regime and against the unilateral, unjustified, dangerous military intervention that is against international law that is waged by the United States. And then they said by no means can the United States use any of their military bases to attack Iran. And on that note, I'm going to Chipotle.
You know what, America? Some of you are acting really blind right now, aren't you? Day one, we bombed a girls' school in Iran, killing over 50 children. Your bloodthirsty attitudes are hiding behind what you like to call patriotism, excusing the casualties as a consequence of the Iranian government. And while you celebrate, Iran is filled with rage. And I'm sure who are planning to retaliate. America, history has a tendency of repeating itself. America, like always, in every war campaign, will play the victim after the provocation, and we will probably wipe out Iran and destabilize the country, all in the name of Israel. Have we not at all learned our lesson, America? Go wash your hands.
We are not winning this war in Iran. We went in guns blazing without a plan, and Iranian leadership was ready for us. And they are currently destroying American military bases across the Middle East at such an incredible scale that I don't think we understand the magnitude of the loss. The American military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia are among the largest military facilities in the world. These bases have cost us trillions of dollars over multiple decades to build. It has been a huge amount of our military spending over 30 years, and it's just going up in smoke. We've lost radars that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, including one Iran took out that was $1 billion at the most fortified U.S. base in the Middle East with a single missile. A radar that was the backbone of all of our missile defense systems in the Gulf. It's really bad. I'm not sure our military has ever suffered this kind of destruction, but we've also never had such unprepared, unserious, piss-poor leadership before either. The new statistic is this war is costing us $1 billion a day. That's about $42 million an hour, $11,000 a second. And while this administration is telling us we are kicking ass and they're putting out their high-end America fuck yeah propaganda, in the background, they are summoning defense firms to the White House for emergency meetings and asking for more money for the Department of War. After getting an extra $120 billion a year from the big beautiful bill, these people are already asking for another $50 billion. Our military budget is already $1 trillion a year. Where is this money going? Right down the toilet. That's where. Did you vote for this? Do you want this? Or do you maybe want a living wage and healthcare and to be able to afford a home in a safe and secure nation? We're not winning. The US and Israel have powerful bombs that can blow up buildings. But as we know now, most of Iran's military infrastructure and weapons are deep underground where we can't get at them. And it appears that Russia and China are sitting on the sidelines just feeding top-tier satellite intelligence directly to the Iranian government and just tracking our every move. We've started something we have no chance of finishing. We don't have an unlimited supply or an infinite arsenal. We don't even seem to have a goal. The question is, how long do we do this? We're a week in. How much of our resources are we going to spend? And do we plan to add our children's lives to the mix? When asked if we could expect violence on our own shores from this, Trump was like, well, maybe. It's war. That happens. Come on. This war was unnecessary and ill-planned and will not make our country or the world more safe and prosperous. We are not winning. All we are doing is bankrupting ourselves while we create even more enemies and ruin our position in the world. You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? Well, here it is.
To attack Iran, to fulfill Israel's darkest desire to destroy and control Iran so that Israel can now become the king of the Middle East, the hegemon, enslaving all the Arabs and Muslims in the region. Israel's plans for the Middle East, in close coordination with the U.S. military-industrial complex, have been known since 2007. In 2007, General Wesley Clark famously recounted that a general in the Pentagon told him on or about the 20th of September 2001, that is 9 days after 9/11, we've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq. I said, we're going to war with Iraq? Why? He said, I don't know. General Wesley Clark came back to see the same Pentagon general a few weeks after his 20th September 2001 visit. And he said to Wesley Clark, I just got this down from upstairs today. And he said to Wesley Clark, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran. According to Wesley Clark, this plan was not about responding to direct threats or deterring conflict, but was instead aimed at fundamentally reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East in a manner favorable to Israel. Let us be very clear. The American people have been brainwashed into believing that the United States military's purpose is to keep America safe. The United States military's true purpose is to start wars and change governments on behalf of Israel. The Israeli Zionist Jews tell America, go and kill people, destroy governments, and create chaos. The crazed, insane Israeli Zionist Jews tell Americans to go die for Israel so that Israel can move one step closer to achieving the Israeli plan for Greater Israel. Who has paid for these wars? America, and it will be Americans who will die in this war against Iran, a war that has absolutely no benefit to America. Iran is no threat to the United States. Israel is the real threat to the United States of America. President Trump has been manipulated to sacrifice America to please Israel. Consider how much money the United States has spent on wars that Israel has ordered since 2001. Since 2001, the total estimated cost of U.S. wars on behalf of Israel is $8 trillion. This includes the $5.8 trillion already spent and the expected spending of at least $2.2 trillion on obligations for U.S. veterans' care over the next 30 years. And since 2001, at least 30,000 U.S. military personnel, contractors, and allied troops have died on behalf of Israel. And the number of people that have died in the Middle East at Israel's bidding is about 4.5 million. And this impending attack on Iran is a major distraction from Israel's barbaric and genocidal attack on Gaza and the West Bank that is pushing forward with great gusto in a veiled and underhanded way, as Trump's Board of Peace keeps lying to us that the war in Gaza is over and that Israel will not be allowed to annex the West Bank. And we all know that the United States is paying for the Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. So, where are we on all of this? American mainstream media is grooming ordinary Americans into believing that Iran is a huge threat to the United States. Do not believe these lies. America has sent enormous military assets to the region to intimidate Iran. It is not working. Iran keeps being calm and resolute, telling the United States that Iran is not a threat. Look at these messages from Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Syed Abbas Araghchi. The first message regarding Iran's nuclear program. Remember the nuclear program that Trump keeps telling us he obliterated in June 2025? This is what Mr. Araghchi said. Our fundamental convictions are crystal clear. Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon. Neither will we Iranians ever forgo our right to harness the dividends of peaceful nuclear technology for our people. And the second message regarding Iran's ballistic missile program, let's listen to the video.
Complained about fake news. So I think now it is himself the victim of fake news, unfortunately. we are not developing, long-range missiles, and we have limited the range of our missiles below 2,000 kilometers intentionally by ourselves because we don't want anyone. We don't want it to be like a global threat. This is only to defend ourselves. Our missiles has, defense nature. They are only to build deterrence and to help us defend ourselves, exactly as they did in the last June's war. We didn't initiate that war. It was Israelis and then Americans. We only defended ourselves. For them, that was an illegal act of aggression. For us, it was legitimate act of.
But do the Israeli Zionist Jews and the United States military-industrial complex with their war hawks listen? Of course not. And so we wait for Trump to pull the trigger. But Trump knows the American people do not want this senseless war with Iran. So the Trump administration is telling Israel to strike first. And when Iran retaliates and probably kills some American military personnel that are currently stationed in Israel, then Trump can try and fool Americans. Look at what evil Iran has done. Iran has killed Americans and they are bombing Israel. So America must now go and destroy Iran to save Israel. So Israel forces Iran to defend itself, and we have innocent Americans dying, and innocent Iranians dying, and Israeli Zionist Jews dying. And for what? For some twisted notion gleaned from the Bible calling for greater Israel. If this completely avoidable war is forced on the American people and our American soldiers are forced to die for Israel, then I want Iran to teach a hard, a bloody lesson to the arrogant and insufferable United States of America and pound the hell out of Israel and any U.S. bases or assets in the region. I want Iran to grind Israel into the ground so they will never forget that it was Israel's evilness that brought this destruction. I want Israel to finally realize that they are not the chosen ones and they have no right to treat the Palestinians or anyone with savagery and barbarity. I want the Israeli Zionist Jews to suffer in the same way that they have made the Palestinians to suffer. And I want the American government to know that they are far from invincible.
This war with Iran is not America's war. It is Israel's war that America is fighting on behalf of Israel using your tax dollars. You see, Iran is a threat to Israel's existence, and Israel will never stop until Iran is completely neutralized and they have full control over not just Iran, but of the entire region, mainly because Iran is one of the largest sovereign nations in the region. They have no U.S. military bases, there is no U.S. embassy, and there is no U.S. puppet running the country like there is in the region. And most importantly, Iran supports and funds all of the groups that are fighting Western imperialism in the region. And it is very important to know that the Palestinian resistance would have never made it this far without the support of Iran. And you shouldn't take my word for it. You should listen to Palestinian martyrs like Nazar Banat, and you should watch this video on YouTube. Netanyahu knows that there is a small window to take out Iran right now, which is why they have tried to convince and pressure the U.S. to join them in this attack, mainly because in the last 2 to 3 years, Israel has killed the top leaders and officials and generals in the Palestinian and Lebanese resistance, and also some of the top leaders and generals in the Iranian military. Today, Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini was killed in an Israeli strike. So what does this mean? It means there is going to be an all-out regional war, which is why so many people have been ringing the alarm, trying to prevent this very moment. But here we are. Iran is not going to go down without a fight, and neither are any of the groups they support and fund in the region that fights Western imperialism. Everyone is going to fight like their life depends on it, because this is the moment, okay? And so the US and Israel are not only going to attack Iran, but they're going to open up the prison gates to allow ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters to take over the region and cause absolute havoc. And the US is going to use this to make the case as to why they not only need your tax dollars to fund this war, it's why they're going to need your children to fight this war. This regional war will take the lives of millions of people in the region, but it will also define the fate of the region for the next 50 to 100 years. And the US is securing Israel's position as the next new world leader. This is the transfer of power. This is the global new world order. And the craziest part is Americans are in denial about all of this, just as they are in denial about the Epstein files, but it is all connected. And right now, it is happening. It is happening in real time, and you have to fight like hell.
They're literally, you walk over from Iran to Qatar. You can walk it in 1 second. You go boom, boom, and now you're in Qatar.
This is Iran. This is Qatar. This is the Persian Gulf, which is 119 miles across. It's 160 feet deep. You can't walk across it. And that was the moron who's taking our troops to war.
If we put boots on the ground in Iran, we are very much inviting an Iraq-style quagmire. This is getting away from these people so quickly. They had no plan. They're a bunch of incompetent children who thought this was going to be some kind of joke that was going to help them in the polls or was going to protect Trump from us noticing that he's in the Epstein files, however many times he's in the Epstein files. It is now completely getting away from them, and oh my God, if we put troops in, I mean, we're really kind of the genie's out of the bottle at that point, and I am very, very concerned about the future that we're looking at if we start committing ground troops to a war in Iran. I also, frankly, just from a professional perspective, what are we going to do? Like contested amphibious invasions? We're going to do paratrooper drops? I mean, we went into Iraq primarily because we had troop buildups on the border in neighboring countries that had land access. But we don't have land access from Afghanistan, and we don't have land access from Iraq, and we don't have the troops built up. I don't even understand, I don't want to be flippant, but I just don't even understand from a strategic and professional perspective how they intend to do this. These people don't know what they're doing. They're a bunch of incompetent morons, and sadly, a lot of people likely are going to pay the price in blood, and that's a real shame.
I've been very, very, very transparent in the most recent videos that I've been posted since the war has started. I told you guys in a recent post that it was rumors that they are going to start drafting people from the U.S. to go over and help fight that war in Iran. Not only are they thinking about, and the rumor is true, they are going to start drafting American people to go over and fight that war in Iran. And I told you guys recently that they were talking about boots on the ground over in Iran. Everything so far has been nothing but aerial strikes, guys. Even though we lost 7 U.S. soldiers since this war has started, some people are saying that it's more soldiers, but we wouldn't know that by now. Now they're talking about drafting people. Now, if you guys don't know what draft means, that means if you are above age 18 years old, I think 18 years old to your middle or late 30s, they can draft you as long as you don't have a disability. If you have a disability, you cool, you clean, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you are a parent, even if you a mom, and you within that age of 18 to in your 30s, they can draft you. They don't care how many kids you got. They don't care what you got going on at home. They don't care what type of job you got. They can draft you, put you over there, teach you how to use a pew-pew, give you that equipment, and send your butt over there for boots on the ground. Now you got Russia that's been involved in this war. You got China that's been involved in this war. So all I'm saying is boots on the ground means it's going to get messy, guys. Now they're talking about waking up sleeper cells over here in the United States and other countries around the world. Do you guys really comprehend what's about to happen here, man? World War III is no longer a rumor, guys. World War III is here. One person started this, man, and we all are about to suffer. Every last one of us, man. So all I'm saying is get prepared. I know a lot of y'all moms and y'all dads don't want to see y'all kids drafted over there. And there's really not much that you can do to stop the draft from happening. You can't tell them no, or they could lock you up, man. They could actually put you in jail for not fighting for your country, man. Believe it or not, you deny helping the government fight for your country, they could actually lock your ass up, bro. It's not a joke, man. You guys let me know in the comment section how you feel about one of your children being drafted to go over there and fight that war, knowing that you possibly may never see your child again. Anyway, guys, leave me your comments, and thanks for watching.